Oh, Dwayne, did you say interview with the post hitter?
Yeah.
Good evening, race fans, and a happy race night to you all. Welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we take on a new adventure with the Cyber Racing Association Acrylic Art Super Track Series. This is a Super Speedway series featuring Daytona and Talladega with the trucks alternating every Saturday night. And Dre Broadcasting is pleased to jump on board the already ongoing season, starting with the third points race tonight. I am your commentator, Sean Zulu, and I am joined by Dave Everly behind the cameras, and also the man making all of this possible, Dwayne Cooper. How are you doing tonight, Dwayne?
I'm doing good, Sean. Glad to be here, man. This should be a exciting race. I mean, we're going to look to go 2 wide, 3 wide, and maybe even 5 wide every now and then. These guys love this track, and they love the speed that it puts out here, so should be a lot of side-by-side racing.
Oh, that's right, Dwayne. A lot of side-by-side full throttle racing going 200 plus miles an hour. And Dwayne, tonight we are racing here at Daytona. Do you mind telling us about tonight's race, please?
Well, you know, we got 60 laps here. They only got one quick fix and only 50% fuel. You know, the track temp's not too bad. It's 78 degrees, you know, and got a little bit of cloud and got a north wind about 2 miles per hour. It may slow them down coming off a couple of them corners there out of 4, it looks like. But other than that, you know, it's a nice, pretty night, packed full. You know, the stands are full, beer's out. These guys are ready to go.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to hear. And also right in front of me, I do have the results from last week's race that they had at Daytona with fixed setups. We had Roger Buff coming out in first place, Sawyer Ott in second place, Rodney Woodford, last season's champion, came out in third place. Oh, that's not the champion. Sorry, it was
Kenny Holderman.
Kenny Holderman. Yeah, thanks. There we go. Rodney Woodford came out in second place. Mark Jorgensen Jr. in fourth place, and Matthew Quick came out in fifth place. And also have the current season standings. Matthew Ozenbach is in the lead, Roger Buff in second place, Rodney Woodford in third place, Dana Osborne in fourth, and Mark Jorgensen Jr., the teammate to Rodney Woodford, is in fifth place currently in the points. And tonight here we do have open setups, so these guys do have a chance to tweak their trucks to their liking based on how comfortable they are, or based on their driving styles. And currently, Dwayne, we do have these guys qualifying out there, and currently on the pole is the 3 of Rodney Woodford. Why am I not surprised?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top 3, it's a dark horse, but you know, going into this year, last year they dominated the league. This year they have Triple Clutch Racing, which picked up a win last night, Underdog Motorsports, Underground Racing, Dead Zone Racing. They got a lot of new teams that come in this year that's trying to compete and keep up with them. Dark Horse has yet to cross that start-finish line yet and win a race.
Oh, 10-4, Dwayne. And Dwayne, I'm glad you mentioned that teamwork. As you have mentioned, these guys do have we have a lot of different teams out there tonight, and that just goes to show how important it is to have teammates when you're racing at a super speedway like this, because without teammates, you're nothing.
And that's correct. And, you know, Sean, you and I can be on a team and we can be out there. If you're at the back of that pack, I'm hooking up with whatever the fastest driver is, which currently happens to be one of the Dark Horse guys, and I'm going to hook up with him, but I'm going to sell him out at the end and win that race.
Oh, that's absolutely right. When it comes down to it, there's only going to be one winner. So it's going to be either me or it's going to be you, but it can't be both of us. That's what sucks about it. And currently we have only 7 minutes here remaining before qualifying ends, and we are going to get a chance to interview the pole sitter once we get the final results.
Yeah, it looks like Rodney's going to hang on to it. You know, that's pretty much what we've seen the last 2 seasons is second round of this, guys don't really improve their time that much. They kind of go out there and play defensive and kind of not help anybody else get a better time. So I believe Rodney's really going to hold on to that pole spot tonight.
And Dwayne, when it comes down to the super speedways here, does it make a difference whether or not these guys have open setups or fixed setups, or is this pretty much all depending on the draft?
Well, you know, with an open setup, you can set the car up to your liking, to your driving ability. So if you like it a little looser, or if you like it to tighten up over a long run, then you can set it up that way, which can hurt you, because if there's not long runs and it's, you know, you got a couple of yellows out there, then your truck can never come into you. That's why you're going to see some drivers that just going to flat take off, lead the pack, and then as the runs go on, they're going to end up losing their momentum and the other one's catching up to them. And some guys are going to put too much tape on. I'm interested to see who thinks they're going to get away with just being at 78 and taping that booger up.
Oh yeah, and I'm also glad you talked about the tape there. So basically, the higher the tape is, the more these guys heat up, and when you do overheat and decide not to cool that motor by getting out in clean air, that is a bad day for these guys out there.
Yeah, that's right. You got to keep that in mind. If you're, if you got it taped up and you're pushing a guy and y'all are moving to the front and you get hot, you got to back off so you can breathe in. That allows somebody to close into you, maybe the high side to swing around you, and these guys here in this Acrylic Art Super Truck Series, they love that high side.
Oh, absolutely. And Dwayne, I'm glad you mentioned the high side. Also, one driver who reminds me of the high side a lot is the 34 of Sean Boundy. That's usually where we see him, was on the high side, taking it 3 wide.
Yeah, this is Sean Bounty's first race. I mean, he's been off racing remote control boats in San Diego and winning them things, and this is his first race of the season, so he's got a lot to make up tonight to hurry up and catch up. You got Matthew Walzenbach and Roger Buff already punched their ticket into the chase, so Sean's got some catching up to do here.
Oh yeah, and the good thing about these guys here, Dwayne, is that they don't give up for anything. You might see them have a damaged truck, but they're still going to be out there trying their best to gain as many points as possible in the long run.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, it's a long season and you need to be in the top 20. So you have to set yourself up, maintain your points, get up in the top 20, and when you sneak out a win on them and lock yourself in the chase, then you're good to go.
And so far we have about 3 minutes remaining here until qualifying ends. And last season's champion, the 9 of Kenny Holderman, is currently sitting in third. But just to get pointed out, those Dark Horse Racing guys, 81 of Mark Jorgensen Jr., who came into the last season later on and didn't really have a chance to compete for it, but he was always up front. So we should expect to see him up front throughout the entire series as well. There, Dwayne.
Yeah, they'll be up there pretty much majority of the night. I mean, you got some good drivers that's going to be trying to push it around, but Dark Horse is going to control the front of them packs. What we haven't talked about, the one driver that we haven't talked about that's really fast and gets on the pole, didn't make it to the second qualifying round, and that's Raymond Rittenhauer, and Derek Walker serving a league penalty, so he doesn't even get to qualify tonight.
Oh, 10-4, Dwayne. Since you mentioned they are great drivers, you'd expect to see them up front. What we should expect as well is, Dwayne, as the race goes on, we do notice that those guys who start further back in the pack are always up front by the end of the race.
Yeah, and Sean, it doesn't matter if you lead that first lap. All that matters is who leads that last lap. So it really doesn't matter where you start. You can lay in the back. This is not NASCAR. We're not giving bonus points for segments or whatever the heck they call that stuff nowadays. It only matters if you cross that line and take that checkered flag.
And also what that means is that you cannot win the race on the first lap, but you can lose the race on the first lap. So these guys do have to keep that in mind, because it is a long way to go, and racing hard on lap 1 is not going to benefit them any.
Yeah, because if you burn up that quick fix up there, then you really just basically have to run in the back and kind of hope that nothing happens. And honestly, if you're in the back, it's harder to miss something. It's a lot easier to be running up front and miss it than to be in the back.
Oh yeah, that is very true, and people would have thought, being in the back would be easier. But a wreck can find you anywhere is what it really pretty much comes down to. Like, for example, the 9 of Kenny Holderman last season decided to start in the back for most of his races, and he was able to win the championship because he was finding himself in the top 5 by the end of those races. And I'm pretty sure most of the guys did notice that, and I'm gonna pretty much try and do the exact same thing he did.
Yeah, you're gonna have some guys that we're gonna see in the first couple laps. It's gonna fall to the back of the group, and they're just gonna kind of what I call fishing. They keep the lead pack in front of them, but just enough that they can back up off of them if they need to. But if they can reel them in and put them in the boat when they need to.
That is a very good strategy to keep in mind for these guys, as it is beneficial. when it comes down to it. And actually, let's try to get a race interview in with the 3 of Rodney Wolford if we can.
What? I don't even know what he said. He said,
"Hey,
get ready
Rodney."
to pull up. Yeah, what'd you say? Get ready to pull up, right?
Hey, Rodney. Yeah, this is Dwayne
Oh.
and Sean up in the booth, man. Sean, you want to talk to him about the pole there?
Oh, yes, sir. How you doing tonight, Rodney? Long time no see.
I'm doing pretty good, as you can tell. I got pole. Yeah, you know that kicks things off really well. Yeah, it's been a long time. Good to see you, Sean. How you doing, man?
Oh, I am doing very well, thank you, Rodney. And we've noticed tonight you're not in the 7 truck like you were last season. You are in the 3 truck. Well, Rodney, what should we expect to see from you this season here on Dre Broadcasting?
Well, pretty much the same that you saw before. You know, I'm just gonna make holes if that needs to be done. And cruise around, keep my truck clean as always. That's always the goal. And as far as the number goes, someone got on there quick, grabbed that 7. So I had to take an old number I ran back in the day, and that was number 3. So we're in the number 3 Race Van Racing Chevrolet truck tonight. That's what we'll be in, I guess, the rest of the season. And more on the races side. I'm just going to do what I always do. Have fun. I'm going to come out here, have fun. I'm going to push, hopefully get pushed, hopefully keep the lead. You know, you always want to keep the lead. You want to lead laps. You want to get a win. That's what I want to do. I might have to put my foot down a little bit, get a little aggro, and do this.
Oh, 10-4, Rodney. That is nicely said. And Rodney, you did say you'll be doing the same thing you did last season. Is that going to include you going sky high at Daytona again?
I hope not. I pray to God I don't go sky high again. It does not feel good when that happens. It does not feel good. That's something I do not want happening. No. Let's not include that at all. Let's keep that completely out of the mix.
10-4, Rodney. Well, Rodney, we want to congratulate you on your pole, sitting with a 45.228, and you are now under gridding, so we're going to let you get back to the driver's seat, buddy, and make us proud once again.
All right, I sure will, guys, and I want to say hi to all the viewers. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll try to put on a show for you. Hi, Shay. Hi, everyone. Stay tuned. We're going to have a good race here.
And ladies and gentlemen, that was the 3 of Rodney Wolford, our current pole sitter, as qualifying has ended. Now going to go over the gridding here. We do have the 3 of Rodney Wolford on the pole, the 81 of Mark Jorgensen Jr., his teammate, in 2nd place, leading the outside, the 9 of Kenny Holderman in 3rd place, the 71 of Roger Buff in 4th, and the 18 of Gary Champion in 5th place.
And sitting in the 6th place, we got the underground racing of Jason Kinzer. The number 66, Bobby Tinch, will start 7th. Number 34, Sean Bounty. Welcome back, Sean. Will roll off in the 8th spot, right next to his teammate, Matthew Welsenbach. And in the 10th spot, we got number 5, Thomas Labar from New York.
And the 88 of Mark A. Vega, a driver who didn't have much luck last season as he was caught up in almost every single wreck. He is starting in 11th place. The 08 of Gregory Thompson in 12th place. 54 of Chris Akers in 13th place. The 23 of Bernard Person in 14th place. Came out in 2nd place in the championship last season. 37 of J.R. Johnson in 15th place.
And then way back in 16th, shocker, is Raymond Rittenhauer and his teammate Matthew Quick behind him. Dana Osborne's going to come up in the 18th spot, rolling off there. And then we have James Peterson starting 19th and Jeremy Funk roll off in the number 97 truck starting 20th.
We have the 1 of Artie Pedersen Jr. starting in 21st place. 52 of Tim Bell in 22nd place. The 4 of Justin Levine in 23rd. 25 of Roger Stewart in 24th. And the 99 of Christopher Berry in 25th.
Newcomer Rod Remus Sr., which is no newcomer to iRacing, but newcomer to the league tonight, is going to roll off in the 26th spot. He'll be followed by Eddie Hawks in the 45, Sawyer Ott in the 30, and Derek Walker will be starting from the pits in the number 20 truck.
We also have the the 82 of Daniel Harrington starting in 30th place, and the 24 of Kevin Tesmar being shown on the grid, but does not seem to be in the server, being shown in 32nd place. So far we only have 30 drivers starting tonight's race. But going back up front here, Dwayne, we do have the 3 of Rodney Wolford leading this start for the first time this time by, going green as these guys are pacing at 80 miles an hour.
Yep, it's time to sit down, buckle up, Buttercup, and get ready to race.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 60-lap race. So these guys do have a long way to go. And they do have a 50% fuel limit. That is 50%. So they do have to pit in. Hopefully we see some green flag pit stops as they do separate the men from the boys.
Yeah, it will definitely separate the men from the boys. I'm anxious to see what the 81 truck's going to do on the outside. We got 2 dark horse on the bottom, but 81's up there kind of by himself. And he's got last week's winner, Roger Bluff, behind him, so he's got no joke behind him pushing him.
As right now they do exit turn number 4, going green for the first time this time by, being led by Wolford. The pace car is off. The green flag flies. They all put it down. The 3 of Wolford is on the pedal. The 81 of Jorgensen Jr. is lacking quite a bit. The 9 of Kenny Holderman trying to catch up to the 3 of Rodney Wolford. The 71 of Roger Buff on the outside has a gap in between him and the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. But as they are shifting into 4th gear, he's going to catch up to him.
Yeah, and it looks like the 81 would like to get down there and join his teammates, but that bottom line is staying nose to tail, and they're not allowing him to get down there. So the top line's dropping back there about to the 3rd row now, but now they got Roger Bluff pushing back up Jorgensen toward the front.
And Dwayne, they do have some assistance coming from the 13 of Jason Kinzer with the 34 of Sean Boundy right behind him. And Dwayne, the more these guys bunch up, the more momentum they have and the more speed that they're going to gain from it.
Yeah, they're running a smooth line on that outside there and just staying nose to tail, and Roger is pushing that Atlanta Falcons truck, which he's hoping will win the Super Bowl this year.
And even though he doesn't look like help from behind the 13 of Jason Kinzer, who I had mentioned early on, he is falling back a little bit. He's backing off to try and maybe just stay out of trouble, or just pretty much showing us that he's just taking it easy because they do have a long way to go.
Yeah, and Sean, I'm not sure that's a good idea for Roger to be pushing Jorgensen up there, because as soon as Jorgensen clears that 3 truck, he's going to drop down inside him, which is going to leave Roger hanging. And Jason in the 13 is not close enough to him to pick him up, so he'll drop back a little bit if that happens.
Oh, absolutely, Dwayne, and that's what they have to keep in mind. There is a risk to pushing a driver who is not your teammate, and that's why we see a lot of heartbreaks during these races, Dwayne.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, Jorgensen, I can guarantee you, he's on that team channel talking to Rodney saying, hey, man, let me know as soon as I'm clear so I can get down in front of you. And it looked like Roger kind of went a little high there on him, but Jason's hugged up into him, and Sean Bounty's making sure he stays up in that action, too.
And also behind Sean Boundy, we do have the 5 of Thomas Labar with the 29 of Matthew Welzenbach behind him. And Matthew Welzenbach is our current season standings leader. And he does have Roger Buff right behind him, second in points.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. Jorgensen looks like he can't get that outside line to pull, and it looks like we kind of got some trucks just drifting in and out. Whoa, there goes Jason down a little bit. Car low on the low side there, Jason.
And we did have one truck on the apron, but he was able to hang on to it. And Dave, let's try and run on the in car of the 71 of Roger Buff, just so we can watch what it takes to be a good pusher.
Yeah, and I can tell you from racing last week with these guys, Roger, oh, we got a wreck.
And the caution is out. Looks like that happened in turns number 3. Let's see who was involved. Oh, it looks like it involved the 54 of Chris Akers, the 90 of Dana Osborne, the 4 of Justin Levine hard in the grass, the 08 of Gregory Thompson, the 37 of Jared Johnson, 87 of Raymond Rittenauer, and also I believe the 45 of Eddie Hawks, who wasn't able to slow down.
Yeah, it looked like we got the 08 involved in that also. What I'm seeing from the replay, it looks like 54 kind of got a good run up on the 08 and spun him around and sent him into the wall.
And Dwayne, that did seem to be a big wreck. And just like we've noticed at tracks like these, when a wreck happens, it usually wipes out a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, that's going to take some guys that's going to have to go in there and get their quick fix right off the bat.
And once again, these guys only have one quick repair or one backup truck. So if they do get involved, like most of them were, they're going to have no choice but to use it, and they'll have no more after that. And that means that if they do get involved in another incident that's bad enough to end their race, it will end their race.
Yeah, the thing about it too, Sean, is it actually works to the benefit of some of these guys because it makes them drive a little smarter, and sometimes they won't try to stick their nose in where it shouldn't go this early in the race, and they settle in. So other times the aggressive drivers, it works against them because they can't be as aggressive as they like to.
Oh yeah, so I'm pretty sure after this caution we're going to see a lot of drivers just backing off. We're going to see more 2-wide action than 3.
Oh yeah, we'll have the guys that had to use up the quick repairs. They'll end up dropping back and just trying to play it safe the rest of the way. And the guys that still have it, it will still be aggressive as they can be.
And we did have some drivers go down pit road. The 3 of Rodney Wolford was one of those drivers. And by the looks of it, the 13 of Jason Kinzer decided to stay out and is now behind the pace car. So it's going to be shown as a new race leader once we cross the start-finish line for lap 7.
Yeah, we seen that last week play out a little bit too. Kinzer did the same thing last week, and it ended up hurting him because they went green, and he was all out of pit sequence and ended up having to pit early and lost all that momentum he made by staying out.
And also goes back to the point I was trying to make there about having teammates out there. So he most likely pitted in alone, which did cost him a lot because he had no drafting partner. And I believe when you're running on your own without the draft, Dwayne, you push about 179 to about 182 miles an hour, depending on your setup.
Yeah, they might be a little bit more.
Oh yeah, and that does compare to the guys who were in the draft who pushed 200 plus miles an hour. So that is a very, very big disadvantage. At the same time, Dwayne might just be trying to lead one lap here to try and get that extra bonus point.
Yeah, he could be out there doing that and seeing what he can get a hold of.
And if
but
we do not,
kind of early. I mean, they haven't used really much out there, and Jason was kind of riding along. So maybe his setup is good enough that he can go on tires for longer than the other ones can.
And speaking of tires, Dwayne, do you expect to see these guys taking tires tonight, or it shouldn't really matter a lot?
Well, what it's going to come down to, Sean, is their setup. Being this is open setup, it's going to come down to whether they have the setup that's good enough that it doesn't eat the tires up, but is fast enough. If it's too fast and they're burning up them tires and right front tires, then yeah, we're going to see them guys pit. But the guys that got the perfect balance on their truck tonight may not even take tires.
Oh, 10 forward, Dwayne. So it definitely does come down to these guys' setups. Actually, let's get a race interview in with the 13 of Jason Kinzer, our current race leader.
Yeah, Sean, I was trying to look because evidently there was a little bit of beating and banging between the 71 and 3 truck under yellow there. I was trying to find that, see if I could find out what was going on with it.
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't even get a chance to take a look at it. But looking at it right now, the 71 of Roger Buff does seem to have some little bit of right front damage, possibly from the contact that he made, like you had pointed out.
Yeah, there was a couple of spotters about to throw down and fist fight up there over it, and you know, I'm not sure exactly what happened.
And that is very unfortunate to hear there, Dwayne, as you know, such hard racing at tracks like these does bring out the worst in these drivers. Looks like we're back to 1 to green and won't be able to get the race interview in, so we will get the race interview in hopefully the next time with the 13 of Jason Kinzer.
Well, we'll see what Jason's got. I've watched Jason last couple of seasons, and he's really improved as a driver, and I'm interested to see how well he handles taking this group to the green flag tonight on some older tires than everybody else.
And he does have the one of Artie Pedersen Jr. right behind him, as the 88 of Mark A. Vega will be leading the outside with the help of the 3 of Rodney Wolford, who was a post sitter.
Yeah, we got Dark Horse starting on the outside and a little farther back, so this can make interesting. Artie, we know, is a good pusher, and you know, you got Vega on the outside. Vega good up at the top too, so this should be interesting when you start.
As we enter turns 3 and 4, going green for the second time this time by, being led by, once again, the 13 of Jason Kinzer. Well, Dwayne, bring us the green flag.
Alright, Dave, let's ride on the 13's truck and watch and see what he does here on this restart. As we coming out of turn 4 here, waiting on that pace car to drop down out of sight. Remember, in this league, you have to go on green. You can't go before green. So he's going to be there a little while waiting, and the green flag will be out. And there it is. He's going to take off and lead them across that start-finish line. He got a good restart there by Jason.
And by the looks of it, he's already getting bumped from behind by the 1 of Artie Pedersen, who was being bumped by the 81 of Mark Jorgensen Jr., the 88 of Mark A. Vega on the outside, struggling a little bit. The 1 of Artie gets into the apron. That was a great save by the 81 of Jorgensen, who had to back it down to avoid causing trouble. And Dwayne, that apron is not your friend.
No, that apron is not your friend, and I'll tell you what's not your friend either, is that 3 truck. That 3 truck is your best friend that you don't want to bring around any of your girlfriends, because he's always going to try to steal them from you. And look at him, he already just whooped around, went 3 wide, and moved up into the lead. Now Sean Bounty's trying to take it 3 wide, and we got a truck loose in the back.
88 of Mark A. Vega makes contact with the 34 of Sean Bounty and was able to hang on to it. He made contact with the wall exiting turn 4, but they still stay organized. They did lose a lot of speed, and that did spread out the field a lot.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we was talking about, we got these guys that can be aggressive because they still got that quick fix in there, and they were able to put it in there and go.
And Dwayne caught in the crossfire of that is the 18 of Gary Champion, and also the 82 of Daniel Harrington, 58 of James Peterson. These guys are pushing about 165 miles an hour and climbing. They're just now getting up to speed.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they had to check up for what they thought was going to be a caution, but it was a great save there to keep the caution from coming out. And now we kind of had the field split up, which could be good news, could be bad news.
And going back up front, we see a battle going on between the 3 of Rodney Wolford and the 34 of Sean Bounty, racing for the race lead, or battling for the race lead. And they do have new pushers. The 13 of Kinzer pushing on the 3 of Wolford, while the 81 of Jorgensen is pushing on the 34 of Sean Bounty.
Yeah, and you know, the 13 and the 34 is one that's going to control what goes on in front here, because as long as they stay latched up to who they got in their line with them and don't let the 81 and the 3 team up together, then they're not going to be able to separate them two once they get together. But now Sean's got a good run from the outside by the 81 pushing hard. Jorgensen is really on him. Sean Bounty drops down and Jorgensen goes to the outside, hoping that the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach will close it up.
And Welsenbach trying his best to catch up to the 81 of Jorgensen to start pushing, but so far, actually he is catching up a little bit, while the 3 of Wolford is most likely going to be going to the outside. Looks like he was trying to get up in front of the 81 of Jorgensen Jr., but he was not clear, so he had no choice but to just stay back there.
Yeah, you know, Sean, I'm looking here behind the number 9 of Kenny Holdham, and that group, because of that battle going on and them fighting for that front spot up there, it was able to allow. We only had 6 trucks up there, and now we have a lot more to join the party. So this party just is getting started up front here.
And speaking of a different group, we do have the 99 of Christopher Berry leading a pack of his own, being pushed by the 52 of Tim Bell. While right now they are overtaking the 5 of Thomas Labar, who's trying to make the outside line work but does not have any help. No help is coming from the 90 of Dana Osborne.
Yeah, and then we got up front, 3rd row back there, Welsenbach stuck in the middle of the Mark Vega trying to go 3 wide there, which is going to help that second pack that Barry's pulling get up there with him. Plus, it's kind of smart because if these guys up here get into each other and cause a wreck, guess who has plenty of time to react and not go through it?
Oh yeah, it's a very good strategy on these guys' parts, and right now they're still 3 wide. The 29 of Rosenbach is still in the middle, 88 of Vega on the outside, but that run just died. The one of Artie Pedersen having some trouble on the bottom lane, touching that apron left and right, but he's still being able to save it.
Yeah, and look at that, how the Kinzer and the 34 of Bounty decided they didn't want to ride behind Dark Horse down there on the bottom, so they left the 81 and the 31 and trying to get that high line, but they're not close enough to get that run off of them.
And Dwayne, just like you had pointed out before, these guys were clear. You did say the 13 of Kinzer and the 34 of Bounty were trying their best to make sure the 81 and the 3 of Wooford didn't get together, as they are teammates. And right now it actually did happen. Now they are inseparable, and the only thing to separate them is probably the pit stops.
But that ain't the only teammates we got up there. We got the 29 and the 34. They're teammates now. They can get together and start working that high side. They can compete with them. And then we also have Kinzer and his group of Vega and Artie Pedersen. They're going to try to get together. So we got some, look like team racing all up front as the number 3 tries to go on the outside and block the momentum of the 34.
That 34, Sean Bounty not going to have it. Takes it 3 wide. Has the 88 of Vega catching up to him. It's 3 wide up front as they are racing for the race lead. 81 of Jorgensen Jr. controlling the bottom lane. The 3 of Wooford is in the middle lane. 34 of Bounty on the outside, and the outside seems to be dying at the moment.
Yeah, you got to give that victory to the 13 truck of Kinzer. He was all over the 3 truck, pushing him and would not let that third lane make him any kind of momentum there. And if Rodney Wooford drops down and takes the lead here, he's going to get the lead this lap. But if he gets to take the lead here, it's going to be all because of that 13 of Jason Kinzer.
And speaking of Jason Kinzer, Dwayne, I'm pretty sure that he's overheating at this point because he's been pushing for quite a bit. And actually entering turn 1, the 3 of Rodney Wooford was clear but decided to stay high. So he's probably just trying to give a lot of air to the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. before he drops down.
Yeah, and you know, I'm looking at Jason. He's sticking his nose out when they get on the front of stretch. Oh, we got 66 got bumped. Looked like a little blink there.
Oh, we have one driver smoking heavily. That is the 45 of Eddie Hawks. 66 of Bobby Tinch getting up to speed.
Yeah, I seen it when I was looking at the action there. It looked like a little neck code there or something because one of them blinked and then it went. But we're still green flag racing here. And Jason Kinzer is trying to go high now and make that third line work while Matthew Walzenbach is working down on the bottom, followed by the 1 truck of Artie Pedersen.
And so for Jason Kinzer, doesn't have any help from anybody, so he's depending on the side drop. He's actually clear of the middle lane. He drops down behind the 3 of Rodney Wooford, while the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. is leading the outside with the help of his teammate, the 3 of Wooford. And on the bottom lane, the 29 of Matthew Wells and back is leading the bottom with the help of the 1 of Artie Pedersen, who almost gets into the 3 of, actually the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. and almost spins him, but he was able to back it down in time to avoid causing trouble.
Well, I tell you what, if I was a 13 truck, I'd be sending my spotter down there to a 34 because he just got hung out. Geez, Sean Bounty went all the way down, dropped to the bottom from the 3rd lane and just hung the 13 up there, and now he's fell back a couple trucks off of, but he's got his teammate Roger Bluff pushing him back up there. While we got Matthew taking the lead in the front thanks to the 1 truck by Artie Pedersen.
Oh, and those guys are side drafting the crap out of the outside to try and slow their momentum down. They did make contact on the back straightaway as the 1 of Artie Pedersen drifts a little bit high to try and get some side draft from the 3 of Rodney Wooford, or maybe he's trying to get some clean air.
Well, you know, Sean, you was asking about tires. Now, remember, the 13 and the 1 didn't pit. They didn't take no tires last time, and it's looking to show on that 1 truck as he is sliding out almost every corner.
Oh, it definitely could be a factor in these guys, as they did just lap the 66 of Bobby Tinch, the driver who was involved in that incident that you talked about. And right now he's struggling to get up to speed because he has no teammates, so no help at the moment.
Well, you know, if the 66 can hook up to him here and get a caution here, he can go in, fix that truck, and get his way around and get back on that lead lap. So he just needs to hang out there and be nice on there. But these guys up front are not settling in. They cannot decide, and I don't understand that. All they need to do is line up and put a big old gap between them and that 2nd pack.
And speaking of the 2nd pack, it's on the move right now. Dwayne being led by the 89 of Matthew Quick, being pushed by the 37 of J.R. Johnson. These guys on the move trying their best to catch up to that lead pack, and by the looks of it, it just might be working.
Hey, Dave, you and them great cameras, can you get some action back there on the 89 and the 37? I mean, they're 3 wide back there, and these guys are trying to catch that front pack, but they're going 3 wide and let Matthew Quick hung out in the middle. I mean, I'm guessing that somebody told them it's 10 to go or something, because they're racing crazy back there.
And Dwayne, the more they do that, the more time they lose to that lead pack, and the more likely they are to lose even more time if they make mistakes down pit road.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to that 37 and J.R. Johnson. That guy can wheel a truck, but he sure has the worst luck in the world at the end of it. So I don't know if it come down to the last 5 laps and he was in front of me. I'm not sure I'd push him because he always seems to be a magnet to get wrecked at the end of races.
That's nicely said. That's some bad luck for J.R. Johnson. We just hope that tonight's race goes better for him, as right now he is trying his best to just be a helping bumper to any truck that seems to be jumping in front of him. And so far, that is the 89 of Matthew Quick. The 08 of Gregory Thompson has been left us driving the bottom lane. J.R. Johnson jumps the outside to take it 3 wide in the middle.
Yeah, you can see, I don't know if their trucks are getting hot or what, but they will not stay in line. They keep jumping out around each other, and it's going to be hard to catch that front pack when you're back here racing each other like this. And plus, you're setting yourself up for an accident. And if it happens, we know the 08 already burned his quick fix. So I'm sure there's a couple more in here that's going to be going behind the wall. So they're going to have to relax a little bit.
And Dwayne, right now I am watching the times from the last time I checked on these guys. The first time I checked, they were about 8 seconds behind the lead pack, and that has gone up 2 seconds in the last 2 laps to 10 seconds. So these guys are definitely not doing themselves favors.
Yeah, they're dropping farther back, even though they're running good lap times. They're dropping farther back every time they go out there like that. They're just kind of putting that big old wall of air and slowing themselves down. They need to settle in side by side and just race. And you know, the best thing to do is take, for example, the 08 truck. If he starts running hot, just go to the high side, fall to the back of the pack, let the next guy move up so they can catch up. Because they're falling farther and farther behind that front group.
Oh yeah, the leader goes to the back. That is a very good strategy to avoid losing any time compared to when you try and do those other switches where the other truck goes to the high side, because that does usually slow down the momentum. But going back up front to the lead pack, we still have a battle between the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. and the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach for the race lead, and both their pushers, the 1 of Artie Peterson Jr. and the 3 of Woolford, are backing off as the 1 of Artie Peterson is losing a lot of time. Oh, he's going down pit road, this time by green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see here is them guys that thought they'd stay out and hope for a quick yellow is now going to have to go down pit lane and end up taking some fuel, because that, what we talked about, Sean, they kind of messed themselves up, and Artie went in and actually hit the wall going into his pit.
Oh, and Dwayne, I'm glad you mentioned that, because all these guys who just pitted in right now are the guys who did stay out the last caution, and Artie Peterson Jr. not having too much luck right now as he did hit that wall like you had pointed out and lost a lot of time because he had to back up.
Yeah, and I'm riding on the 13 now as they're coming off pit lane. It's going to be the 13 leading them off pit lane there, but now they got a lot of room to make up. The only good news that they're going to get from their spotters is that everybody else is going to have to pit in probably the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, and these guys, the best luck they have is to try and bunch it up because they do have 4 trucks, but they are spaced out a lot. The 7 of Roger Buff is the last truck in this pack. 88 of Mark A. Vega, 13 of Jason Kinzer, and the 1 of Artie Peterson, but they're very, very spaced out, so they're losing a lot of time, not having any luck at the moment.
Yeah, and we got the 9 truck of Kenny Holderman, and he's lost that front group up there, so he's dropping farther back. He can only pray that that second group catches up to him. But we got 81 of Jorgensen, 31 of Rodney Wolford, 29 Matthew Weisenbach, 34 Sean Bounty taking the front 4 up there, and they seem to be content on just following each other around. Of course, we got 2 dark horse in the front, and then 2 of I forget the name of their team, but it's Sean Bounty on them. I just call them Star Wars nerds. Rebel Racing, that's what it is.
And speaking of the dark horse guys there, Dwayne, they are catching up to that pack that just pitted, well, not the pack, but the 2 drivers who just pitted in, 88 of Vega and the 13 of Jason Kinzer. And right now, they're most likely going to be going a lap down before the other pack pits in.
Well, I just got a word. I heard 82 and 18 are fixing to come down pit lane, so it looks like we're fixing to start seeing some green flag pit stops.
Yep, we have some drivers down pit road. Gary Champion is one of the drivers. 58 of James Peterson. Also Daniel Harrington. And Dwayne, I noticed one driver pitted in on his own, and that was the 4 of Justin Levine.
Well, I guess he had poor communication. I guess it's time to fire the spotter if you can't go down there and hook up with somebody else when you go in. Maybe he had damage, but you never want to go on pit lane by yourself at a super speedway. You'll always want to go with somebody, whether it's a lap down car or not, because you need that draft to be able to maintain it out.
And right now he is paying the price. He's currently in 26th position.
And here we go, 81 going down pit road. Front pack is on pit lane.
They slow it down nice and slow, going side by side down pit road. This time we do have 81 Jorgensen, the 29, the 34 Sean Bounty, and the 29 of Welzenbach.
Yeah, and I'm riding with Rodney Wolford as he goes down. I'm interested to see if they take tires or if they just going to fuel him up and jump on out. I see Welzenbach's taking at least left side, so it looks like just left sides only on all 4 of the front trucks as they're heading off pit lane.
Yep, the 3 of Wolford. Oh, the 81 Jonathan gets a little bit too hard on the gas too early. Went sideways, was able to hang on to it. Holy cow.
Yep, and Rodney come off really good. And because of the Jorgensen there, there's a big gap between them, so that's going to allow the rest of the field to kind of pick up a little bit. Any good pit stop they had going went out the window with that 81 getting loose coming off pit lane.
We have some more green flag pit stops going on there. Dwayne, the 37 of J.R. Johnson down pit road. 89 Matthew Quick, Kenny Holderman, Gregory Thompson, Thomas Labar, Christopher Berry, Sawyer Ott as well.
Yeah, that should be the last round of our pit stops, so we'll have to see how it goes. We got newcomer Rod Reamons. Sure he hasn't pitted yet, up in the lead right now.
Oh yeah, Rod Ronimus Sr. has not pitted in yet. He is getting some help from the 71 of Roger Buff, who is being shown a lap down.
Yeah, and I'm showing Rod is throwing up his hand, showing that he's going down pit lane this time. So that's going to cycle it back to Kenny Holderman being our leader.
And since Roger Buff was behind the leader before he went down pit road, I'm not sure if he's going to get his lap back. Actually, yes, he just got his lap back. He's now back on the lead lap in 21st place.
Yep, and I don't know what happened. 99 looks like he kind of got slowed down on the bottom there. And poor Kenny, he's out there all by his lonesome trying to hope that everybody don't catch him and hang him out. They would just fall in behind him.
And right now, Kenny Holderman is getting up to speed. Looks like he's being caught by a pack being led by the 5 of Thomas Labar, J.R. Johnson, the 89 of Matthew Quick, and the 30 of Sawyer Ott. They are backing it down to group. Nope, they're not backing it down. They're going around him as they do have more speed.
Yeah, 10-4 on that, buddy.
And behind them is the 90 of Dana Osborne being pushed by the 20 of Derek Walker and the 54 of Chris Akers.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the nose of the 29 truck. He's got some damage on him. I don't know where Matthew picked that up at, but Welzenbach maybe when he pitted or something, but he got some damage on that front nose, which is going to hurt him a little bit.
Oh, and Dwayne, that could also come from maybe a little bit of a hard bump, but so far no damage is being shown on the rear end of the 3 of Rodney Wolford, so I guess that's not the case.
Well, you know, Matt come off behind the 81, so maybe he got into the 81 and helped loosen him up a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to check the back of the 81 truck, see if he's got some damage. Right now, the 81's hung out on the outside as we cycle back through the green flag, and guess what? We're right back to the same running order we was.
And right now, he does not have any help. He's depending on the side draft to keep up with the 29 of Welzenbach, and so far it does seem to be working. But the 29 of Welzenbach and the 3 of Wolford are pulling away, propelling here, exiting turn 4.
Well, you know, as long as he can work the side draft, and Mark is one of the best at the side draft, him and Rodney both working pretty good. He can drop in behind Sean Bounty, or if Rodney decides that he needs to let 29 get some air, he can jump up in front of him, and then we can have, oh no, there it goes, looks like that. 34 got into it.
Oh, that was unfortunate. That did involve the 81 of Jorgensen Jr., the 29 of Welzenbach, and the 34 of Sean Boundy. On my end, it looks like that was a little bit of some bad net code between the 34 of Sean Boundy and the 81 of Jorgensen Jr.
Yeah, that's what I got here. I got Sean nowhere clear near the 81, and he just slides up just a little bit, and iRacing says, screw you, Mark Jorgensen, we're spinning you.
And Dwayne, that's going to make these drivers up here not happy for that caution, namely the top 4 drivers, but everybody else behind them are going to be happy because they're now bunched up again.
Yeah, that's just a shame that, but you know what, guys, that's part of racing online. You have to count that you got a guy sitting in his mama's basement in New York, and you got a guy sitting in his mama's basement in Australia, and they're racing. And guess what? The internet is not that fast that it can draw these cars, and netcode will happen. That's why you got to give a little bit on that side draft. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, and this one didn't work.
Oh, that is definitely nicely said. And ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are going to take a quick commercial break as we are past halfway. So get some more beverages and some more popcorn. Stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue tonight's race with the Cyber Racing Association Acrylic Art Super Truck Series. And going back to the race here, we do have the 37 of J.R. Johnson in the race lead. That is a new leader after starting in 15th place. And Dwayne, just like I had pointed out in the beginning of tonight's race, usually the drivers who start further back in the pack find themselves up front when these things cycle out.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you just gotta take your time. You gotta relax, and make it up to the front. Unfortunately, the 23 truck of Bernard Person, he was caught up in that first one, and then he got caught up in that one, and now he is inside his hauler playing Nintendo.
Oh, that is very unfortunate to hear, Dwayne, as he was the second place driver in the championship from last season, so we should expect to see a lot of him this season. And we do have one driver going around the field. That's the 82 of Daniel Harrington, being shown in 27th, one lap down, but most likely getting his lap back this time by.
Yep, that would be the final one that goes this time around. We're still going to have James Peterson 2 laps down, and I think we got Eddie Hawks is in the pits getting repaired right now. Yeah, Eddie's out of his truck, out of his GoDaddy truck, behind the wall drinking a beer, getting it fixed.
And Dwayne, this is just lap number 35, going to lap 36 as the 37 of J.R. Johnson just crossed the start-finish line for lap 36, and we are 1 to green. Do you expect these guys to race harder than they were before, or it's not yet go time?
Well, you know, we're getting down. It's 36 laps in and of a 60-lap race, and if I'm sitting up front, I'm putting it to the floor. If I'm in the back, I'm setting myself up so that when we do get around 10 to go, I can make a move. You know, this is where if I'm sitting back, let's say where Vega is back in the 11th, 9th spot, I'm looking to see who I can hook up with, who's got the setup close to mine, and see if we can't pull ourselves around. Maybe even make a test run every once in a while, drop on the high side and see if we can slingshot and then drop back in line or something.
Oh yeah, it's all about what you mentioned before, knowing when to make the right moves at the right time. Like we gave an example of the first lap versus the last lap. As you cannot win the race on the first lap, but the last lap is the one that really matters the most. And as these guys get closer to that, their racing is going to get even harder and harder. And we do have the 37 of J.R. Johnson in the lead with the help of the 3 of Rodney Wolford on the inside. The 71 of Roger Buff leading the outside with the help of the 1 of Artie Peterson Jr., who was second place in the bottom lane under green before the caution.
Yeah, and you know the 3 is going to be pushing on the 37, and Junior Johnson, he's a heck of a driver. But Roger, last week's winner, is on the outside, and I know he would like to go back-to-back. I'm not sure about that truck, though. The Falcons, I don't know. He may end up fumbling something here.
And as these guys exit turn 4, still pacing here, going green this time by. The pace car is off. The green flag flies. They all put it down. The 71 of Buff gets a better start than the 37 of J.R. Johnson. That 3 of Rodney Wolford doesn't hesitate, puts the pedal to the floor, is all over the back bumper of 37 of J.R. Johnson, as the 1 of Artie Peterson as well is on the back bumper of the 71 of Roger Buff. And Roger Buff is being shown as our new race leader already on lap number 37. That didn't take long.
Yeah, well, it didn't take long for that 37 to get that push from the 3 behind him. I'll tell you what, if I'm on a restart, the 3 is the truck I want behind me because he's going to push. But this is the spot that I don't like, because as soon as he clears that 71, that 3 is going to dump me and go around me.
Oh yeah, just like he had pointed out, he's going to try his best to lead as many laps as possible and try and put some good racing up here, and he does not let us down. He never does, as he does have a 90 of Dana Osborne right behind him. Dana started in 18th place and is now in 5th place, while Artie Peterson Jr. has been up front even though he started in 21st place.
Well, you want to talk about a smart race. Look at that 20 truck there for me, Dave. Producer Dave and owner of DRE Broadcasting. The 20, remember, he had to start from the pits, automatically 1 lap down from an incident he had a couple of weeks ago in the league race. And as we see the 3 go up high there, but the 20 is all the way back up, and he is making a move toward the front.
Oh, and they are 3 wide up front. The 3 of Wolford is propelling with the help of the 90 of Osborne. Both drivers are clear back to 2 wide, and 1 Roger Buff leading the outside with the 1 of Artie Peterson on his rear end. The 5 of Thomas Labar catching up to this pack, has no choice but to back it down.
I tell you what, you said he was clear, but I guarantee you couldn't have squeezed a tick in between them 2 trucks when he got down there.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes down to racing, these guys do take a lot of risks, and most of those are avoided when the other drivers are aware.
Yep, and Derek Walker's pulling that outside line up there. I think that was a mistake by the 90 truck hanging with the 3. I think I would have moved up inside the 20 there, because when he gets up with his teammate, we know what happens when Dark Horse teams up together. And there it is. The 54 is pushing. The 54, he was in that wreck in the first go around. And yeah, he's up there pushing the 20 truck to the lead.
And right now, Dwayne, it does seem as though the outside line just might be the place to be. The 71 of Roger Buff is trying his best to keep up with the 54 of Chris Akers, but in the turns he's backing it off to try and avoid giving him a bump to make him loose.
Well, you know, while we're watching up front here, I'm looking back down through the field, and I see the 81 and the 9 truck, Dark Horse teammates back there kind of weaving and ducking and weaving through traffic back there, slowly making their way up to the front. So it could be 4 trucks up in the front up here fighting to decide who's going to be Dark Horse winner.
And Dwayne, since you mentioned that, we should expect to see a lot of 3-wide action, just like we had seen early on, and it's not going to be the last time we see it.
No, and it looks like the 20 truck would like to drop down in front of the 3, but he can't get that run off of him because Dana Osborne is pushing the bumper off of the 3 truck. I don't think the 3 is going to have a bumper left by the time Dana Osborne gets through ramming him in the rear end there.
Oh, and speaking of that there, Dwayne, we do have the 3 of Wooford and the 20 of Derek Walker being tied for first place, but he did give it to the 3 of Rodney Wooford. That was quite the race between these guys, trying their best to lead as many laps as possible.
Yeah, I hear you now. You only need to lead that last one, but I tell you what, it sure is a lot more comfortable when you're out in the lead early. Although I don't want to be leading with 5 to go, because then you're nothing but a duck sitting on a pond. Oh, right. Derek almost made that move down. He wasn't quite clear yet. He had that kitty cat on the side of his truck, was about to hit the front end of that 3 truck.
And we haven't seen the big one yet, and hopefully we don't get to see the big one. But these guys are racing hard but clean, as the 20 of Walker trying his best to clear the bottom lane, but the 3 of Wooford is not backing off because the 90 of Osborne behind him is doing quite the job.
Well, I noticed that the 90 truck of Dana Osborne's dropping back. I wonder if he's running hot. He was all tucked up underneath that 3 truck for a long time, and I guarantee you down on the bottom he's not able to breathe as much as he was like. And he's falling back now, and we got Jorgensen trying to move through as Walker moved down in front of his teammate.
And that does give the 54 of Chris Akers the lead, as with the 71 of Roger Buff on his back bumper. The 3 of Rodney Wooford is pushing on the 20 of Derek Walker, as he does have a cool motor.
Yeah, Rodney's been out there on the front of that high side, that low side down there with a nice cool motor, so Walker was able to get down in front of him. But Chris Atkins, who was in that first incident, is pushing hard on that outside trying to get around.
And that 81 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. was able to catch up to this pack and is now behind the 1 of Artie Pedersen Jr. with the help of the 88 of Mark A. Vega. Mark A. Vega looking to the outside, 3 wide to make the outside work.
Yeah, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it there. There's a lot of cars dancing around on that back there.
Now, as soon as the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. saw that the 88 of Vega was trying to take it 3 wide, he did go down to that bottom lane. As up front, the 90 of Dana Osborne does jump to the outside with the help of the 54 of Chris Akers.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have enough momentum right now. They need to stack that 71 of Roger Bluff up behind the 54 truck there to help. But Dana, no, he's getting a run up there, but it's going to die out before they can get around to the start-finish line and collecting that extra points for leading the lap.
And Dwayne, so far I've noticed that the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. is trying to make some moves, but he does seem to be boxing on the bottom lane. So the bottom lane is not the place to be when you're trying to make moves like that.
Well, you know, he's kind of set himself up. If you look at him, he's right behind J.R. Johnson, running 3rd truck on the bottom. And if J.R. decides he wants to jump to the outside, guess who Jorgensen falls in behind? His 2 teammates. Dana Osborne, nice move down to the bottom there. Good push by the 54. Man, you got to get a hard break to the 54. That's the 2nd truck he's pushed to lead, and he can't get nobody to push him up there.
And Dwayne, as these guys are dropping down in front of that bottom lane, that makes it even harder for the 81 of Jorgensen Jr. to get to his to the front. So it's kind of a different situation for him.
Yeah, it looks like the low line has the most trucks, but it also has the lowest momentum. It's not really moving that good. I'm not sure if we won't see some of these trucks on the bottom start moving high and start trying to make some action toward the front here as we get down to 15 to go.
Yeah, right now the outside just died. The 71 of Roger Buff getting up to speed with the 1 of Artie Pedersen and the 88 of Mark A. Vega behind them. We do have a new race leader, the 54 of Chris Akers.
Yeah, Chris was able to get up in there and get in front of the 90 truck, and that left Rogers in. That's what we was talking about earlier. If you don't have somebody on your tail end when you push that guy to the lead, you're dropping back, and that dropped the 71 truck from being the second truck on the outside all the way back to the fourth truck. So here we go with Artie pushing him up. Now let's see if Roger can end up making it and getting that Atlanta Falcons Chevrolet to the front here. Might be the only thing the Atlanta Falcons win.
And they're coming up to a lapped car, or a lapped truck. That is the 82 of Daniel Harrington going a lap down, this time by on lap number 46.
And we got Dana Osborne in all door cars. All four door cars going down pit lane. And Dana wanted to mow the grass a little bit as he come in. You know, so I guess he was down there in the chat with them because they all went down there together. This should be the last pit stop of the night for this group.
Yeah, we should expect to see a lot more green flag pit stops. So far, we have about, so that's 6 to 7 trucks down pit road.
Yeah, and you know what's shocking here, Sean, is that I'm riding with the 71 up front, and he is just now, him and Artie, just now pulling down to the inside. I think I would have dropped as soon as them guys dropped on pit lane, because you know them five are going to stay together. 71's getting ready to pit. But we'll have to see, because, whoa, there he goes. He kind of got hit. He called out his pit, and the one hit him and sent him into the wall.
Oh, man, he collects some other trucks. That does involve the 52 of Tim Bell and the 13 of Jason Kinzer. They're going around right now trying to get back up to speed to pit in. Wow, that is very unfortunate.
Yeah, and it happened going on the pit lane, so there's going to be no yellow. Oh, yeah, we're going to keep on racing. I guess the one truck didn't hear him when he hollered out that he was going down pit lane.
Oh, the 13 of Jason Kinzer misses that pit though, and so did the 54 of Chris Akers.
Yeah, and this goes back to, you know, there's practice times, and a lot of guys don't realize, hey, you need to practice green flag pit stops, because they do happen. And you see what happens when guys don't practice pit stops. We got Mark Vega coming down pit road now, and there Mark is textbook. Brought it in and did an excellent job getting it on pit lane. Now let's see how quick he can get in and out.
And he had the one of Artie behind him, and also 66 of Bobby Tinch, and also the 99 of Chris Berry, who also missed his pit stop and had to back up.
Dave, can we get on the 5 truck here? I mean, that is one pretty truck, and Thomas LeBear is an excellent driver. He's out there leading this pack right now. Of course, he's going to have to come down pit lane, but, you know, we got him out there, and who's behind him? Rod Reedus Sr. There goes the 125 down the pit lane. And the 5 truck is staying out, hoping to close the gap with the 37.
And Rod Roniman Sr. pitting in this time by on his own without any help. Hopefully he's able to catch or hang on or try and get the draft of a different pack once they're going around him.
Yeah, and J.R. Johnson is swinging around the 5 truck. I think he got such a momentum that wasn't really planned, but he got such a momentum catching up to him that he kind of swung out instead of hitting him a little too hard and maybe spinning him.
And Jared Johnson and the 5 of Thomas Labar racing for the race lead side by side here. This is not doing them any good. Actually, 37 of Jared Johnson was backing off to try and get in single file to most likely set himself up for a pit stop.
Yeah, and I'm looking back at the guys in first on pit lane, and they're only 33 seconds behind. So when these guys go down pit lane, they're going to have to get in and out quicker than 33 seconds to maintain their lead, or at least come out behind them so that they have a chance to win this race. We're on 9 to go now. So I think the 5 truck is probably going to stay out and try to push as long as he can and pray to God that somebody runs out of talent and wrecks their truck.
And Dwayne, so far from what I'm seeing on my stats here from all the drivers who just pitted in, they had 1.9, 1.8 to about ranging from 1.9 to 5-second pit stops. So some guys took 2 tires while most of them took only gas only.
Yeah, and I think this far in, you know, I would have had it set up nice and set that I could come down, because this is the time that you want to come in and just top it off and take the bare minimum to get you to the end of that race. Because there is no green, white checker, so you don't have to worry about it. Caution only helps you, and not take any tires at this point. If you're having to take tires this late in the race, then you need to work on your setup and get it where you don't have to, because it can cost you.
Oh, that is nicely said. And actually, we only have the top 9 drivers who still need to pit in, and the last driver in the top 9 is the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer, who is behind the 08 of Gregory Thompson. These guys are going very, very slow. That pace is way slower than the previous leaders.
And see, and that's another thing, Sean. They're dropping off because them other guys are pit and they come out. They're coming out on fresh tires, and there will be a difference. But you know, can you make it the rest of the way? Can you hold them off? I mean, we're looking at Dark Horse is still 32 seconds behind. Gregory Thompson's 15 seconds behind the leader there. So and now you got some guys that's going to be up in this front pack, and they're going to try to make some moves because we're running out of laps. We only have 7 to go. Getting word 37 is going down pit lane, so let's see who else goes with him.
Yeah, most drivers behind him are too wide. The 13 of Jason Kingston included, and also the 97 of Jeremy Funk, a driver we haven't spoken much of, if any, tonight. The 5 of Thomas Labarre going down pit road with the 37 of J.R. Johnson.
Yeah, and I'd like to ride with him, but we got 6 laps to go, and that's going to put the 29 truck. Remember, he was on his lid earlier. Him and Sawyer Odd and Sean Bounty, that's going to put them out in the lead right there. So I don't know how far away they are from pit.
Yeah, and Dwayne, the longer they stay out, the more time they lose to those leaders. So let's see what happens.
Well, Sean, you know, I sent word down to the spotter down there. I jumped on my little scooter and I ran down there real quick to Sean Bounty's pit, and I said, "Are y'all pitting?" You know what the crew chief told me? "Get out of the way. We're trying to win a race here." So I don't know if they're coming down pit lane or not.
Well, Dwayne, speaking that, I mean, it is lap 55, so we have, I guess, 5 laps to go, but technically 6 laps. So maybe this late, they just might have enough to make it. Maybe they're backing off. They're pushing about 189 miles an hour compared to the other drivers who are pushing 200 plus. So they are saving gas by the looks of it.
Yeah, but, you know, can we close up that gap of 19 seconds behind, you know? And Dark Horse is running back there being led by Kenny Holderman 30 seconds back. You know, is it enough that they can do it and float around? You know, Roger Stewart might end up being in the catbird seat here and end up still in the win, and he's 19 seconds behind this group.
And right now, Sean Bounty is catching up to some lap traffic. Not lap traffic. Actually, nope, that is not lap traffic with Kinzer and the 4 of Levine, and also the 97 of Jeremy Funk. The 97 of Jeremy Funk. We haven't spoken much of him tonight. He did start in 20th place and is currently being shown here in 19th, but he's a great driver as well.
Yep. And, you know, we're looking here. Sean and them, last time they pit was back on lap 21 and 22, so they're pushing it. They're going to be really close on that pit. So we'll see if they can get it in.
Well, Dave, let's run on the in-car of the 29 of Matthew Elzenbach. Doesn't seem to be in a hurry to catch the 34 of Sean Bounty, so maybe Dwayne, I guess I am right, or might be right, that they are trying to save gas, but that just might cost them a lot of time, more than it does them any good.
Well, you know, I'm looking at Bounty's speed here. Sean Bounty's doing 180, which is what you do in the truck when you're by yourself. So, yeah, there's no doubt they're trying to save fuel. And, you know, what it's done is it is allowed, I keep referring back to Dark Horse because they were the first ones to pit, but they picked up 4 seconds on the field. Is there enough time? Because we're, you know, 3 laps coming to 2 laps to go here, so is there enough time for them to catch it or not?
Oh, that's going to be very interesting to find out. They gained 4 seconds in 1 lap, and we have less than 5 laps to go, so it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. And right now, looking at the second pack being led by the 08 of Gregory Thompson, being pushed by the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. These guys do have only a 3-track pack, and the last driver in this pack is the 25 of Roger Stewart, and by the looks of it, they are not hooked up either.
Yeah, and you know, there's a big group that's back there. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, about 9 trucks that are hooked up 23 seconds behind. So, I mean, this front group here is really giving up. Sean Bounty's already dropped down to 175. Shoot, that's not even what the pace car goes. It goes faster than that. So Sean is definitely trying to save fuel.
Oh man, that pack that just put in the first pack to pit in. The Dark Horse guys just got around the 25 of Roger Stewart and 87 of Raymond Rittenauer, and also the 08 of Gregory Thompson. So right now they are on the move. They're currently being shown about 24 seconds behind the lead pack, but I believe that's now 22 seconds because it is changing a lot.
Yeah, and they're pulling off on pit lane, but the loser of all that is the 89 and Squatty Potty truck driven by Matthew Quick, which we haven't talked about tonight. Matt's a smart driver, but I'm not too sure that his pit crew did the right job every two to go, because Matt is out by himself and only has an 18-second and losing, lead ahead of the rest of it. Can he pull 18 seconds for 2 laps? That's going to be interesting.
And Dwayne, as you were speaking there, the 34 of Sean Boundy, the 29 of Matthew Welsenbach, and the 30 of Sawyer Ott just got overtaken by the pack that's being led by the 3 of Rodney Wooford and the 9 of Kenny Holderman behind him. Well, we're going to have 2 laps to go. Actually, 1 lap to go this time by.
Yep, Squatty Potty is taking the white flag, and he is going to try to pull it all the way around. We got him going in turn 1 and 2 right now, while we got Rodney and his group coming across the start-finish line right now. So can the 89 coast on around and make it?
Dave, let's run an in-car of the 89 of Matthew Quick, just so we can hear that engine roar, as right now it is more quiet. Oh,
I think he's out of gas, because I see him drop it way down, 125 miles per hour. That may be it. He may not end up doing it. Let's stay with the 89 here, Dave, because we have a lot of trucks coming around, and the 89 is out of gas, coming out of turn 4, hoping to get there. And hoping to get there. He's got the 71 truck coming up behind him. But here comes that group. They're going to come. I don't think he's going to make it here. They're flying around him, and there goes Rodney Wooford.
Oh my God, what a shame. They get around him, and the 3 of Rodney Wooford is going to bring this thing home with the 9 of Holderman and the 20 of Walker Ware battling. But that did give it to the 20 of Derek Walker. 9 of Kenny Holderman comes in 3rd place. 81 of Jorgensen Jr. in 4th. And the 90 of Dana Osborne in 5th place. Well, Dwayne, that was quite the pit stop or pit strategy by the Dark Horse guys.
Yep, they pitted early. They were the first ones on pit road, and then they end up wrapping up the top 5 spots as they had Dana Osborne as a temporary Dark Horse driver tonight.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to interview the top 3 drivers. The 3 of Rodney Wooford, the 20 of Derek Walker, and the 9 of Kenny Holderman. And right now we're going to focus on the 3 of Rodney Wooford, and hopefully we see a smoke show.
Yep, and it was an awesome job. That's, teamwork. I guess it paid off tonight because these guys worked together. They pitted together, even though Dana Osborne was a little off on the pit stop there and, coming around. But I guarantee you, Matthew Quick is going to go back and check his fuel tank and see where that half a gallon of gas was that he missed. Dave, you want to go to commercial break while we jump down there in the pit lane and start catching up with these guys? They seem to want to be burning it down on the front stretch.
Oh, Dwayne, looks like I was able to catch up to the top 3 finishers, and we do have both the 3 of Rodney Wooford and also the 90 of Dana Osborne burning those suckers down against those walls, or against that wall, I should say.
Well, I guess I'll take the 3rd place guy there, Mr. Kenny Holderman, which was really quiet during the race. Kenny, we didn't hear you talking much during the race, but you was able to run a smart race. I was watching you kind of move through there. You wasn't up front with the rest of them, the 81 and 3 most of the night, but you was able to bring it home 3rd place finish there. Tell me, Kenny, honestly, out of all you guys, which one called win the pit there first?
I'm pretty sure I got to hand it to Rodney there for calling the pit in there. So I think we owe it to him on that strategy, for sure.
Yeah, that was a great pit strategy. We was actually watching you guys as y'all were at one point 34 seconds behind, and we started watching Bounty and his teammate Matt, saving fuel. And then I thought Quick was going to end up getting it and sliding around there, but boy, y'all sure flew around there, and lucky y'all didn't wreck there at that end.
Yeah, coming out of 3 was sort of crazy, but we held together, and he ran out of gas, so it worked out.
Well, good job there, Kenny. Way to bring it home. You got anybody you want to thank? Besides your teammates, we know you want to thank them because without them, you just run at the back of the pack. We know that.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, big shout out to everybody here at DHI and Dana. He's been. I don't know if he's officially on DHI or not. We'll call him an affiliate for right now. So, I've run Dana for a long time. So big shout out to Dana as well. Shout out to Chris for the wonderful paint jobs on our Silverados here, and you for hosting the leagues. And man, that was a hell of a finish.
Well, Kenny, we'll let you get back down there. I know you're going to drink a lot of beer, eat some Buffalo Wild Wings, and celebrate. And Sean, I see you called up with the number 20 truck of Derek Walker.
Yes, sir. Derek Walker. You got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I got you, Sean.
Well, Derek, I have one question for you. You went from 29th place to 2nd place. Any secret you want to share?
Yeah, I had to start in the pits serving a penalty. I think that actually worked out to my favor at the beginning because I got to miss all those wrecks. So I think that might be the key, just starting from the pits.
Copy that, Derek. I'll keep that in mind so I can win more races than I already do. Wait, who am I kidding? There's a reason I'm up here in the booth and not racing down there with you guys. But Derek, how was your race tonight, bud?
It was very uneventful, but that's in racers' term, that's a good thing because that means you're not getting wrecked. So it was really cool. I just kind of laid back most of the race, and then we got that last caution there, and I decided it'd be time to get up there and mix it up a little bit and get with the teammates. So it worked out great. Rodney called an awesome move on pitting early, and it paid off because it looked like everybody was running out of fuel there at the end. So that stop, it was either going to be a hero or a zero move, and it turned out to be a hero for our whole team. So big shout out to him for that. That was pretty awesome.
Oh, 10-4, Derek. And Derek, after racing tonight, do you think there's anything you change, or was everything according to plan?
Yeah, no, I think everything went as good as it could have. DHI, I mean, we were, I think, all top 5 there with our affiliate. Dana was working with us tonight, so shout out to him for that. But yeah, I think the only thing I would change is that big block that Rodney put on me there at the end. If I could have had room to get around him, I would have changed that. But it was a smart move on his part, and awesome win.
And we also noticed that you and the 9 of Kenny Holderman had quite the battle for 2nd place, and you actually barely took it away from him by a nose hair. So that was very, very close racing on your part. And Derek, next week we're going to be racing at Talladega. What should we expect from you there as well?
Well, I prefer Talladega over Daytona, just as far as racing goes, because it's a little bit racier. You can do some more 3-wide racing and stuff, but I'm just going to probably do the same thing, really. I might just lay back for a little while and let the carnage clear out, and then maybe try to work my way up through slowly. We'll see. I'm not sure if it's open set or if it's fixed next week, so that'll play a big part in what I do too.
Oh, copy that, Derek. And it is open setups next week, so should we expect that to change your driving style for the better or for the worse?
Well, I think it really just depends. I like the open setups because it just kind of gives people that work on their cars a little bit of an edge, take the time to work on it. So I think we have a good set, and should be able to work my way through the field if I need to. So that way, starting in the back won't be that big of a deal.
10-4, Derek. Well, I'm sure we're gonna see you starting in the pits, as that did work out in your favor tonight, going from 29th place with no qualifying time all the way into 2nd place, gaining 27 spots overall. That was very, very impressive. Well, Derek, before we let you go, any shout-outs you'd like to give or thanks?
Yeah, all kinds of them. My team, obviously, at DHI, everybody did awesome. And Dana for working with us tonight. He stayed right with us. That's the first time he's ran with us, I think. I wasn't here last week. Maybe he ran with them. But big shout-out to him for that. And my dad and sister's watching. And hi to, Shay, and then my friend Lauren. And just shout-out to you guys and Dwayne. You guys do an awesome job. And Dwayne... him and I butt heads all the time, but he does an incredible job with this league, and I tell people that all the time. So just shout out to you guys.
Well, Derek, we do thank you for the kind words, and most importantly, congratulations on your 2nd place finishing tonight's race, and see you again next week at Talladega.
Oh, copy that, Sean.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the 20 of Derek Walker, but we do have the man himself, the man of the hour, the man of the night, starting on the pole and finishing in first place. Got a copy again there, Rodney?
Oh, you bet I do, Sean.
Well, Rodney, we did interview in the beginning of tonight's race, and you did tell us exactly what to expect, and we received exactly what you told us, and that was you racing hard and putting a good race out there. Well, tell us about your race from your perspective tonight, buddy.
Well, you asked me what to expect, and I tried to deliver that. That's exactly what I did. I put some work in today, trying to alternate the set a little bit. I think some of us ran the default that we had from years ago. I built. Other than that, did a few tweaks. It's Daytona in the trucks. We were a little tight. We got grouped together. Started on the pole. It's fantastic, and we did our race. We had a little wiggle, a little mishap, and I think a caution there. And we tried to stay grouped together and not get collected and have 0 incidents. That's one thing I've been going for, is 0 incidents and finishing the race well. Like we did tonight. We about wrecked it coming off before there comes to the line, but he was out of fuel. I don't remember who it was, but he was getting a push, and I had to throw a big block Chevy on a 20 of Derek there, and that allowed me to keep the lead and stay first and get the win, which is fantastic, Sean, fantastic. And we still got 1, 2, 3, 4 finish, and 5th with Dana there. Just fantastic. A lot of people are out to gun and get us. That's what people want to do when you see people work well together. But the race, man, it went great. It went great. I think I did the right thing. Gave herself a little challenge when I said let's pit. We were short a little bit. Obviously, it was the right call because he ran out of gas, and we got the win. That's what did it.
Oh, copy that, Rodney. And Rodney, I'm looking at your last pit stop right now. Your last pit time, it was 1.8 seconds. That lets us know you did not take any tires. Did that affect you any tonight?
About the middle stint that we had, I had it a little tight on the tight side with how our dynamic track is, and our weather. We were on the tight side, definitely on the tight side. Whenever I try to put this truck on a loose state, it just does not keep the speed in it, and we didn't run full tape. Did not tape it up all the way so we could push longer, not overheat, and have to worry about that. And we kept that really good throughout the entire race, and I don't even think all of us taped up to the last stint. But that last little pit, I was trying to key up to say pit, and someone already had the radio already queued up. So I pulled down there and got a little tap, got loose, almost lost it, but I one hand wheeled it. We happened to get down pit road, and we took a little bit of gas and just got back out there and rode together and switched whenever we got a little warm. And tried to keep our track position, and just kept pretty much telling our team and telling ourselves that we're not going to make it. They don't have enough gas. They got to clutch it in first place at a super speedway. They need to give themselves a challenge and do little green flag pits like we did.
Oh, well, that's for sure, because we was watching them and their speeds were dropping way down. I even made a comment one time that the pace car was going faster than the rest of them. But, Rodney, I got to ask, man, you're sitting in your mom's basement and you're doing this each week, man, and you got your teammate and then you don't want to let him win. So, shoot, dude, you going to let anybody else win a race around this place?
Well, yeah, they've earned some wins, haven't they? Yeah, they've got around me. They've earned some wins. I had to throw a big block on it. If the opportunity was there, Dwayne, or am I just going to give it up? You can't just give it up when it's right there off turn 4 and I see that line.
Well, I know you had to be kind of changing your shorts there when you come around and see Matthew Quick out of gas there coming, because you and Matt seem to have a magnet for each other toward the end of the races.
Yeah, it seems like he forgets to turn the wheel sometimes on corner entry, so yeah, I was a little tight there, doing it. We were tight. We were on the tight side. I wish it was a lot looser. And, I came up there and I was like, well, that little pink Puma car can just give me a little shove to the checkered line. He actually could have got around me, I thought there, which he almost did. If it was Talladega, he had it. I've been trying to get him a good W on a Friday night's race, and it just hasn't worked out. But, he's back tonight, and we did a heck of a job, and I'm proud of him.
Well, y'all definitely put on a great show. It was a lot of fun up here in the booth calling this race. Y'all got separated, teammates got separated there, and we seen teammates from Rebel Racing up front, and a couple of other guys up front. And, I have to say, Rodney, I Jason Kinzer and his group and Matt Weisenbach and their group, they seem to be catching up because it's more even on the racing, and it's not just all dark horse up front all the time now. So, which is really good for the racing in the league.
That's fantastic. That's great. I give them a lot of props. It doesn't matter, team, whoever, you can run with anybody, anytime, any day, anywhere. It's all about knowing where you're at on track, what you need to do, and what you need to accomplish. And yeah, they did great. That's fantastic. It's always good to see anyone else do well, stay up front, keep the truck in position to win a race. That's your goal when you come out to race, is to win and stay in contention. And that's what they did. That's what you want to do, and they accomplished that. That's a great job. Heck, I wish if I get my teammates and whoever and fellow friends want to get together and run more and practice, that can give you even more of a gain. It's just all about who you put yourself around, how you run it, and just holding a good clean line. It'll get you a long ways.
Well, Rodney, any shout out to any sponsors, anything you want to give before we kick you out of the booth so that we can talk about, adult stuff?
Well, yeah, I got to give you a shout out. Out of everybody, I got to give you one, I guess. I really do appreciate what you do. Sean, Dave, up here in the booth, thank you guys. Everybody here at the team, everybody tonight. Great racing, great green flag stops. Keep it up, man. That was some fun job, a fun time, and great job. Some advice, work on holding the line, don't get eye fixation. Other than that, I want to say hi to everybody watching. Thanks for supporting the league. It's fun, it's a blast, and I hope everyone had a great time.
Well, with that, we'll kick it back over to Sean up in the booth up there with Dave and recap the race. Sean.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us once again tonight. And Dwayne, I had a good time. This was an amazing race. We saw a lot of green flag pit stops, two green flag pit stops. And the 89 Matthew Quick seemed as though he was going to bring it home, but that did not seem to be the case because he did run out of gas in the back straightaway on the last lap. That's the worst time to run out of gas. Unfortunately, he was overtaken by the Dark Horse guys, the 3 of Rodney Wolford, the 20 of Walker, the 9 of Hoderman, the 81 of Jorgensen Jr., the 90 of Dana Osborne, and was able to come in 6th position. But that was some great driving overall. And Dwayne, what was your favorite part about tonight's race?
Well, I like the guys that really got patient. We had a quick yellow there at the beginning of the race, but then the guys kind of settled in. We seen a lot of the teams that's been really working hard. We have to give a shout out to, Rebel Racing and Underdog and Underground Racing. These guys are out there every night in the servers practicing together, trying to get better. And Sean, they've been knocking on that door, and it won't be long before they kick that door in and end up taking a win in the series.
Oh yeah, Dwayne, and these guys, like I mentioned, they don't give up for anything. So we should expect to see a lot of great racing. Pretty much we're going to be seeing a lot of different winners week after week, because we do have a lot of new drivers in this series, this season, and that's very, very amazing to see.
Yeah, and you come here, you had Rod Renus tonight. His finish didn't show, but he ran up front there, and you had Matt Weisenbach and Sean Bounty. They were up front. Sawyer Odd, Thomas Labar, Jason Kinzer, they were all up front, and it was just pit strategy. And next week you go to Talladega with an open setup, and you take what you learned from here tonight and you go next week. And when you put into that situation next week and you see them guys drop off on pit lane, might just be a good idea that you follow them down there, because sometimes they do know what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely, Dwayne. I'm glad you said sometimes they do know what they're doing. This is a game that you have to gamble a lot when it comes down to pit strategy. And the game I'm talking about is a pit strategy game. You have to gamble because it might not always be correct, just like the numbers show. But it's definitely a risk that you're going to have to take depending on how good that driver who you're following is. And that's something to keep in mind for these guys. Also notice the 20 of Gary Bohr starting 29th place with no qualifying lap. He did go a lap down like you had pointed out, and was able to get back on the lead lap and end up finishing in 2nd place. And next week, once again, we'll be at Talladega with open setups. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Acrylic Art Super Track Series with Cyber Racing Association. And thanks to Acrylic Art for the sponsorship. And also tomorrow night we're going to be broadcasting Precision Racing League Jake and Elwood Blues 125 at Chicagoland. If you guys are interested in Sunday night big car racing at these oval tracks. And Dave, Dave has the final results on the screen, so we're going to go over those. I'm going to go over those. We have the 3 of Rodney Wolford in the win, 20 of Walker in second place, the 9 of Kenny Holderman in third, 81 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. in fourth, the 90 of Dana Osborne in fifth. We have the 89 of Matthew Quick in 6th, 88 of Mark A. Vega in 7th, the 1 of Artie Peterson Jr. in 8th, the 5 of Thomas Labar in 9th, 66 of Bobby Tinch in 10th, the 30 of Sawyer Ott in 11th place, the 34 of Sean Boundy in 12th, 29 of Matthew Welsenbach in 13th, 37 of J.R. Johnson in 14th place, the 13 of Jason Kinzer in 15th, the 97 of Jeremy Funk in 16th, the 4 of Justin Levine in 17th, the 99 of Christopher Berry in 18th, the 08 of Gregory Thompson in 19th, the 25 of Roger Stewart in 20th place, 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. The poll sponsor or poll sitter award goes to the 3 of Rodney Wooford, and the 125 of Ronnie Massina finishing in 22nd place, 54 of Chris Akers finishing in 23rd, first truck a lap down, 82 of Daniel Harrington in 24th, the 18 of Gary Champion in 25th, the 71 of Roger Buff in 26th, 52 of Tim Bell in 27th, 58 of James Peterson in 28th, the 23 of Bernard Person in 29th, 45 of Eddie Hawks finishing in 30th place. And that does round up all the drivers who put down a lap time out there in tonight's race. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight for the Acrylic Art Super Truck Series with Cyber Racing Association. Tonight for the Daytona race. And next week, once again, we're going to be at Talladega for the open setup race. So we should expect to see a very amazing race like we had seen tonight, if not even better. Talladega is way wider, so we should expect to see a lot more 3-wide action. I am Sean Zulu. I was joined by Dwayne Cooper and Dave Evel behind the cameras, and have a good night.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.